I have Pablo de la Hoya with me, one of the Happs community managers, and I'm going to bring him on to talk to us about Happs. And I'm trying to figure out how to do it on the computer. Pablo, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I don't see you. How do I let's see you do this?
Yeah, so let's make sure you get back into the studio. There we go. Oopsies. We got double audio.
There we go.
Yeah, so now we see you twice.
Okay. What we're trying to do is I'm going to turn this around, and you can see my my desk as we're talking, because I'll be drawing in a few minutes, and I really wanted to learn how to do this as well to work on my have it on my my laptop and my phone. So anyway, there we go. So hi, Pablo. Pablo and I have been working together for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
I joined Happs, gosh, March or April. You guys invited me to be a part of Happs, and
yeah, about that time. So you've been on the platform since way before we had a lot of these fun, cool new features that we have now.
Yeah. Tell people describe Happs to those that are here that don't know.
Yeah, so Happs started off as a broadcasting network that developed tools for the mobile phone and Mac OS to broadcast out to Periscope various news items from all over the world. And we did that for about 2 years. I joined the Happs team in around October of 2019 when we were still doing produced broadcasts to Periscope. And then in 2020, we transitioned over to being a platform. So we kind of stopped down on production. And then in March, we officially kind of launched the app publicly and have been developing it ever since to make it what it is now, with a lot more still to come to improve what the platform is. Yeah.
It's so interesting to be involved with a startup. I've never done this before, so it's fascinating to watch you guys try things and then try something else and then ask my opinion and ask other broadcasters' opinions, and it's just really, you guys are all really friendly, and it's all very, very interesting.
Yeah, I remember the early days. You were a little worried about how friendly we were.
I know. And Peter Bittner said to me, he said, "Well, we can ghost you if you like." And I said, "Well, that probably would be good because I'm used to that."
Yeah, no, that's not who we are at all. And we like helping our broadcasters, obviously, and also since we are in the early stages of the platform and the app, we want to make sure that we take in as much feedback as possible to make it work for you, as opposed to make it work for us.
Great. Yeah. I'm seeing who's here. Somebody from Kent. Where's Kent? Hi, Ryan. Hi, Peter. Peter's here. Yep. Liza was suspicious. Yeah, I was. I wasn't. I just, you guys came to me and wanted to work with me. I'm like, okay, what is this? And are you for real? They're being very friendly, wanting to do Zoom talks with me about the platform, about my work. It was great. It was great. Look at see who else is here. Good day, guys. Somebody from Mom. Where are you from, Mel?
I think Mel's from Australia. Yeah.
Oh, good day. Yeah, of course. Good day. Brett Walker, also a Happs team member. Brett is. What is your position, Brett?
Brett is one of our lead mobile developers alongside Adam.
Okay, and Peter is one of the is the community manager, right? Along with you, Peter? I mean, Pablo?
Yep. He's a head of community.
And what do you mean by community? So what do you guys do when you work with the community? What that means working
doing exactly what we're doing right now, having conversations with you. As you know, Peter and I have been kind of on the front lines with a lot of our journalists, with a variety of different things, right? From helping you get used to the platform to talking about story ideas, going over what might do well, what might not do well, time of day to broadcast, and all of those types of things to ensure the success of our broadcasters as much as possible.
What kind of broadcasters do you have on Happs? What's the variety of content?
Yeah, well, it's dramatically diversified over the past week and a half. We as you know, it was very journalism and activism based for quite some time now, and now we have art on the broadcast that isn't political cartoons. And there's also musicians joining the platform. There's people teaching you how to fish. There's people teaching you all kinds of things. Photographers in Hawaii. We just saw someone that was live in front of an active volcano, it seemed, in Hawaii and on the Big Island. So that was really cool to watch. Louise Poppy, who's a travel guide in New Zealand, has been going live and making us all feel very envious because they're completely open from the pandemic and don't have anything to worry about. But yeah, it's a variety of content now.
Somebody says, for some reason, I cannot connect my YouTube account. Well, that's something to ask Peter and Pablo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the early days, Liza, when we had problems with YouTube. Remember that?
Yeah. No, it's great. I was doing some live drawing on my own, and I've been doing it out in the world before the pandemic with my iPad, live drawing and connecting with social media immediately. And then during the pandemic, I just started drawing with my phone over my hand and broadcasting and talking to people about the pandemic, about the protests, about the Black Lives Matter movement, and it became sort of something that people enjoyed and like to follow. And drawing, I've discovered, is something people like to watch. It calms them, they said. So and then you guys came along. You said we'd like to do that, what you're doing with us, and so yeah, it's great. I really appreciate.
It was perfect timing, I think, as societally, the United States was really going through a lot between the pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement really increasing, MAGA marches also happening, Trump rallies happening a lot. There's so many things to talk about, and that's not even going into all the stories that you've done about government policies and reactions to certain things. Ruth Bader Ginsburg passing away. There's been such
wildfires.
a wild year. Yeah.
Remember, I drew the wildfires. I was not there, of course, but I drew about them.
You drew about the wildfires in California, and then we had someone like Brandy Fire Photo Girl live broadcast the fires. So it's really been an interesting year. And if anyone wants a recap of 2020, just watch Liza's live drawing from the beginning of when she started Happs.
It's true, because when I started doing the live drawing in my studio, it was not really a political cartoon necessarily. I would just draw what I was thinking. In the early days of the pandemic, we were all so worried about everything. We were worried about the healthcare workers and the people that delivered our food, the cashiers. We were talking about that. We were talking about, so it was a matter of just drawing people. And then the Black Lives Matter, I was drawing about George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and all what that meant. It wasn't necessarily just a constructed cartoon. It was a dialogue, because I think cartoons really, in the end, they're just a way to communicate, a way to talk about issues. So this is a great way to do it, I think.
Correct.
So what else?
I think that's. Do you have any questions for me before? I know there's a lot of people commenting questions about Happs, and maybe we'll answer that in the Q&A that's coming up in about 20 minutes for you all. Peter and I will do another Q&A. Yeah.
I'd like to watch that. Top commenter Michelle says, I've been live streaming and telling the stories of the portraits I draw. Yeah, so it's sort of the same thing. Great. I'll have to follow you. Do I already follow you, Michelle? I think I do. So it's great, and also you guys have the sponsor feature, which I think is helpful for those of us trying to make a living in journalism. So. All right, shall I start drawing? And
I'll go ahead and
you have to go. You have to go.
I'll go ahead and let you get to that. Thanks everyone for joining Liza's broadcast. Obviously, please subscribe. She's an amazing cartoonist and offers a lot of great insights.
Thank you. Thanks, Pablo. See you later.
See you all at 3. Bye.
So, hi everybody. Like I said, I live draw something in the news every every time I broadcast. I try to do it every weekday at 5:30, and I've never done it with two streams this way, so this will be interesting. You get to see the top of my head. But one thing I wanted to draw today, and I sometimes do this. Let me put the light on. Let me get this out of here. Is can you see? It's really interesting. I can now see, instead of having to look through my iPhone, I can see on my laptop what you guys are seeing. Great. Wonderful. And like I said, I've been drawing on paper for my entire career. I've been doing this over 40 years, and I work for the New Yorker and lots of other publications, New Yorker cartoons, which are political sometimes, but often they're just about life. And but I do a lot of political cartoons, and I publish them with the New Yorker, but I also publish them with Medium.com. And sometimes I like to do this sort of shtick with the White House, which I learned from a well-known cartoonist that began a famous cartoon strip called Doonesbury, if you guys know it, in the 70s. And Gary Trudeau started Doonesbury, and it was a wonderful comic strip about the Vietnam War and Watergate and lots of other things too, eventually. But that's where he really got his name, was with Vietnam War and Watergate. And they were strips that were talking about what was going on in politics, but also in people's lives, and he has a regular cast of characters. But one of the shticks that he did was draw a White House, and he would have words coming out of the White House, like a speech balloon, as if to say, this is what Nixon was saying. At the time, it was Nixon, and it was really a great tool. And I've always admired that tool, and I'm using it now. I'm going to give him full credit for beginning this shtick, or whatever you want to call it, tool, device, the White House as a way to show what the inhabitants of the White House are saying without actually drawing them. And I think it's great. I mean, I can draw Trump, and many of you have seen me draw Trump, but I like this. There's something, it makes it a different feel to it than doing a caricature of Trump saying something. Oh, this pen is not working so well. So I pretty much always worked with a dip pen like this, a crow quill. Lots of different tools out there for us to use. I do love my iPad, but I've always used this kind of thing when I do my New Yorker cartoons. It's with old-fashioned pen and ink like this. Today, Joe Biden got his COVID vaccine. Pence got his last week, right? I wonder if Trump's going to get a vaccine. What do you think? I'm sure they're trying to get him to use it, to have one. So there's the White House. And I'm going to have some words coming out of it. Let me see what you guys are saying, if anything. Hello from San Francisco. It's hard for me to read. I usually read it from my phone. Oh, Michelle, you remember Doonesbury? Wasn't it great? Doonesbury Zonker characters was the best. I know. And it was really the first time we saw well, that's not quite true. Oh, no, I think it is true. I know the history of political cartoons pretty well in our country. And it may have been the first time that somebody was really on a regular basis going after not only the politicians, but the American attitude and American way of life, and criticizing us, for our lack of insight, our lack of our bias and our whiteness at times. Brett says, just FYI, Liza, I think your internet is struggling. Okay. So, Brett, if I close down my laptop, would that be helpful? I'll keep drawing. I was waiting for this to dry so I could put the words up here, but I think I can hold my hand up in the air. So this cartoon was inspired this morning by reading Trump's tweets. Every day I check in the morning. I check in to see what he's saying. Oh, I didn't want to write that. Darn, fake news. I didn't want to write that. I meant to say, I'll work with it. It's the problem with me trying to talk and draw at the same time. I don't always get it right. I have the words written over here. I drew this morning on my iPad. I can show it to you when I'm done. Because the New Yorker magazine has a daily political cartoon, so I submit to that, and sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. There's a lot of rejection. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to. Didn't quite work. I'm not a comic strip person, so there we go. Normally I would connect some of these things so you know who's saying what, but I think I'll leave it. And I use watercolor. This is my palette. I use watercolor and something called Dr. Martin's Dyes. Let me see. Let's see. Brett says if I turn off my laptop, it's your camera and not your connection. So my camera is. So I'm going to turn off my laptop and see if that helps. You guys can see what I'm doing. Your camera's struggling and it's focusing, I think, for the art portion, keeps readjusting the focus. Good. Brett says it's the connection. Is that better? I keep trying to improve my setup, and I got a better clamp for my phone. What I'd really like to do is have the laptop and the phone working at the same time. So maybe that's better. We'll just put some color on here. And I like the looseness of this crow quill pen, and that's what my style is. It's very loose. It's just like not overdrawn in any way. Some people, their style is to be heavily drawn, and that's their style. Mine is more like, if you know the cartoonist from a long time ago, James Thurber, he, along with Gary Trudeau and Herbert Bloch, was another political cartoonist that I loved. James Thurber was my influence as well. So Charles Schulz too. So, but Thurber was very loose. His cartoons are very loose, almost like drawn like a child. Very like just. I like that sort of approach. Let's see what you guys are saying. I'll take this out of the clamp now. Let's see. Anybody else joining us? So I'll show you the one I did this morning on my iPad. iPad out of the case. Sorry, I'm getting moved around a lot. Apologize. I didn't think I was going to show this to you, but I think you might find it interesting. So there it is on the iPad. The audio is really good. That's good to know. Thank you, Michelle. So, so the New Yorker, you submit in the morning before 9 o'clock, submit a couple of ideas for a political cartoon, and they either buy it or they don't. And then you try it again the next day. Let's see who else is here. What software app do I use? This is called Paper, and it's by WeTransfer. So I think I'll stop right there. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Chantal. Thank you, Peter. Hello, Town Crier. Diane Hipsher. Lady May says, I miss having the bubbles at the bottom of the screen to see your followers. Well, I don't know what you mean by that. You can't see the comments? I'm looking at another. Thank you, Victoria. Gave me a Super Heart Award. And Mel gave me a High Five Award. Thank you, guys. Hi, Mark from LA. Maybe I'll have Mark on my broadcast one of these days. I saw Mark was on another Happs journalist broadcast, and also Peter. It's really interesting for me to hear that you guys talk about the platform. All right, well, I'll turn this off and say goodbye. Turn this around. So thank you for joining me. Again, this is Liza Donnelly, and I'm a cartoonist and writer for the New Yorker and Happs News and many other places. And you can follow me here on Happs, get the app, and if you follow me, I would you'll know when I'm broadcasting. You'll get an alert. I usually do it at 5:30 every weekday. Mark says, I'd love to join one of your broadcasts. That'd be great, Mark. Great supporter of mine. Thank you. Appreciate it. Another one of these days, I'm going to have a lawyer from the not the National Press Club. Gosh, I forgot the name of it right now. But to talk about freedom of the press, and I'll tell you more about that later when I know more details. Because cartoonists have a lot of trouble, not in our country, but around the world, with freedom of the press. Anyway, so join me here, follow me on Happs, and sponsor me if you feel inclined, and I will see you again tomorrow. I'm going to do a little early tomorrow, probably around 4:30, because I have a holiday party at 5, so a Zoom holiday party. Okay, thanks. Hi, Hal. Hal's a regular here, too. Good to see you. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow.